Now, I mentioned Anthony Albanese had some comments as well. There was Christopher Pine on the Nine Network, and then Anthony Albanese joined us on Sky News. He says that the treatment of Mr Turnbull showed a lack of respect from Donald Trump and that a deal between two sovereign nations should be honoured.
Well, look, what's absolutely critical here isn't the egos of any particular politician. What's critical is that a solution is found for those people who've been on Manus and Nauru for far too long. And Labor and certainly everyone, I think, in Australia would expect that agreements are honoured between our two nation states.
Joining me live now is the Environment and Energy Minister, Josh Frydenberg. Thanks for your time. One big story around the world today, and that's Trump v Turnbull. The question is, what was said in response? Did Turnbull, as my understanding is, he did give as good as he got in that 25-minute truncated conversation?
Well, look, there were two people on the conversation, and I wasn't one of them, so I don't think it's appropriate for me to comment, Kieran, other than to repeat what the Prime Minister said, which was that the President confirmed he would honour the agreement that was entered into with the Obama administration, and then that has subsequently been reiterated by the President's official spokesman. Now, what Malcolm Turnbull is trying to do is deal with the legacy left to him by the Labor Party, namely thousands of people who came in an unauthorised manner by sea, who ended up in detention centres. Now, we're trying to resolve that problem that the Labor Party left us. They left us an absolute disaster. Tragically, more than 1,000 people died at sea. But since we have come to office, we've closed their 17 detention centres. We've removed every child from detention, and it got up to 8,000.
But Donald Trump says this is a done deal. He doesn't want the 1,250. He keeps saying 2,000, but the figure's 1,250. He doesn't want to accept them. There's a chance he could still revoke it, despite the latest remarks from his press secretary.
Well, as you know, it was a deal that was entered into with the Obama administration, and now the President has confirmed to our Prime Minister that it will be honoured.
And, well, just you watch foreign policy very closely. How serious is this a test of the Australia-US alliance? Kim Beazley says if the deal's revoked, then it does test the strength of the relationship. At this moment, you know, in and of itself, a phone conversation won't hurt the relationship, but if he were to revoke it, it would.
Well, as you know, the relationship is very deep and it has crossed party lines over subsequent administrations in Washington and in Canberra. And the relationship is based on shared values and shared interests. And it doesn't matter who's in the White House and who's in the Lodge, that relationship will continue. And it's a very strong relationship now. It's deepened in terms of defence ties under the coalition. The free trade agreement that John Howard entered into is extremely important, and of course there's strong personal links. So that relationship will continue to be strong today and well into the future.
Well, we will see. Let's look at the energy issue, and the South Australian Minister, your counterpart in South Australia, says you're dreaming, basically was the gist of what he said in relation to the idea of clean coal, and a lot of environmentalists would agree with him.
Look, I think Tom Koutsantonis is a bit punch-drunk and wounded from what has happened in South Australia, because they have become the first state in the Commonwealth to go completely into the black, as they did last September, with 1.7 million people losing power and chaos being caused right across that state. Tom needs to get out a little bit more and see what's happening in the region, because more than 700 of these high-efficiency, low-emission power plants have been put into place, whether it's in China, India, indeed in Japan, where they have 90 of these plants. And I visited one of those.
The industry's saying, in terms of coal, they have no appetite, there are no plans to pursue clean coal. So the government, is it just on its own frolic here?
Look, we'll enter into proper negotiations and discussions with governments, with industry, to see how we can move this issue forward. But the reason why we should be seriously looking at clean coal in Australia, Kieran, is one, because we are the world's largest coal exporter, and today it forms more than 60% of our electricity supply. So it just makes sense to look at that new technology. Okay. Secondly, it does reduce emissions. As Alan Finkel has pointed out, it can reduce emissions by up to 40% on some of the older coal-fired power plants currently in operation.
Mr. Frydenberg, we're out of time. Appreciate it this morning. Thank you.
Good to be with you, Kieran.